Okay, so the third-party libraries can be easily fetched from the using the prefabs that we have. Not directly into the application, we could fetch it, but suggested way is to create a prefab where this is like a reusable components which we could create and bringing the library source code and interact with the library and build it.
I would like to get this question answered on two fronts. I think the first front is from an external microservice, and the second front is from maybe when you have a Java service that you write in WaveMaker, and the resultant API gets generated. How would that get consumed in an external application?
So if you have multiple microservices that you already have, you could import those microservice bundles using the Swagger spec from here, and you could import, for example. So there is this API spec I have, which is a Swagger spec. I could upload this spec, and once I click on next, WaveMaker will read this spec, and these are all the APIs this spec has. We could give some name for the service, and once I click on import, WaveMaker gets all these APIs imported here. And we could configure the host and base path and directly interact with the APIs. So this is one way of getting it. And if you want to build your own APIs, right? So we have a provision with Java services. You see this tab called Java services, where you could create your custom services with Java, and what are all the public methods that you define using Java services. WaveMaker automatically creates it as APIs, and that could be used. So for example, here I'll just create a sample Java service. And there will be this default code that gets generated. And now, so I'll just define a simple public function. So I have just to define this function called get employee, which takes this employee ID as parameter input. Okay. And this returns some string. For example, this is what I have just defined. Just for the sake of example, this can be extended to any business logic and any Java code, basically. So once I have done that, if I navigate to the API section here and select this Java service, so this is the custom service I have just defined, and you could see a get API that gets automatically generated. And if you expand it, so you could see this is the input parameter this API expects, which I have defined as a parameter there. This could be a complex Java object, and that you could directly send the data to, and you could make a post request and all those stuff from here. So this is how you could create your own APIs, and you could create multiple apps for each microservice if you want to do, and build your services like this in WaveMaker. And the API generation would automatically get taken care. So for that, I'll just create a new page, employee edit, for example. I'll just create a blank page. Now I'll just use a different data widget. So list is also works, but I'll just create a data table. I'll just drag and drop this data table. So here I'll just select this HRDB. I want to interact with employee table basically. So this is, I select this, And I can, if you see for the data table, you could make it read only or you could configure it as editable. So, and these are all the different edit options. So because this is a database variable and WaveMaker knows the context of the database that got imported and what are all the tables and the relations WaveMaker has the context. So the editing is also out of the box possible using these widgets. So there are different uh, I mean options how you could edit. So edit as a dialog, or if you want to edit within the inline of the data table, that is also possible. So for now, I'll just select this as a dialog. So I could select the layout pagination here, and the table columns which needs to be displayed. I can select the first name, last name, few things. I'll just birth date. So I'll just select few things, job title and the department name. These things I should be showing. And in the form, how the form layout should look, 2 column or 3 column. You could also configure all this. And the columns in the form, right? Which columns to be shown also can be selected. So because we have chosen 2 column layout, in the left column, which things to be shown, and in the right column, which things to be shown can be configured, and this can be moved up and down. So if I want to get this birth date to the right column, right? I could move it to the right column. So like this. And once I click on done, you see this data table in the canvas. So, and there are these advanced settings for the list and table as well. So once you click, you could customize anything, any columns, or if you want some row expansion, all those can be configured, and actions also can be configured. New actions can be added additionally. So I'll just quickly preview this and show you how that would work out of the box. So this is the data table, and you see by default edit and edit actions are there, which can be extended to any other actions as well. So once I click on edit, this form based on our configuration we gave, right? The left fields and right fields which needs to be shown, that would get automatically filled up, and you could edit it. Instead of October 21, I'll just change to October 10, and yeah, and Eric Lynn, I can change the name and save it. So this gets immediately updated into the database as well. And you could also check it using the query. So this database we have. So here in the query, right? See, this is the birth date, 10/21/1973, which got up, which we have just updated, that gets reflected into the database as well. Okay, and if you want to, you can also create a new record by the table action. So this you could create a new record as well. This is what we have just seen. This is a put method, put API that is getting invoked. So if I can, you can also inspect and see the network tab also. So how it is happening. So I'll just update it to 5. And once I do, this is the payload that is getting sent with 5. And this is the response that is coming, which after the update happens in the database, like this. And similarly, you could create new records as well. And you see, so this state, we have defined only the max of 2 characters in the database, and that's why I'm not able to enter more than 2. All such are being taken care out of the box. And I could give some date, 1970, May 14, and just save. And this gets added, and you could immediately see that coming in the data table as well, which is, yeah, this how you could. Also, separately, also you could import the post APIs and create your own forms and do it. So like live form, you could drag and drop, configure it to employee table. And similarly, how we did for the form configuration in data table, you could separately do, and that form would come up like this.